Hey, it's Jay. Welcome back to Ink TV. I have a very special guest today. Natalie is going to be joining us. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, sometimes there's a certain amount of darkness in the world, and I'm just trying to find a little bit of light in there. And I think that this drawing today is really going to help that.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So tell us more about what you do.
So I am an artist. I'm what some people call a visual artist, which means that I like to draw, I like to paint, I make mostly two-dimensional stuff, so stuff on paper, stuff on canvas, and particularly I like drawing people. I like doing faces, animals, and plants, that sort of thing. Kind of like illustrations, things that you would see in like picture books.
Fantastic. I'm so excited. We're going to illustrate our initials today, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
So I got out a sketchbook that is actually also graph paper. If you want to use lines as a structure, that is fantastic. Even if you just have like lined notebook paper, that works. Especially when doing things like letters, or even if you're drawing a face, like there is no shame in having a structure to go off of, because that's how we learn. Now I'm gonna like really go for it at the bottom. I'm gonna do like a free-for-all and get kind of wavy with it. Do a shape outside of the lines. Testing it out. I have a pencil that's really, really light, so in case, I make a mistake, it's easy to erase. Now I'm gonna take a little bit darker pencil and trace over it. So I've got like the bare bones lines of my initials, but I'm gonna draw bone shapes over them and make it kind of spooky and fun.
Ooh, I love that. That's awesome.
Over this first line, I'm gonna draw a bone shape. Again, if you don't really know what a bone looks like, if you forget, if you're like, wait, how do I draw that? Look it up online, get a good book. I'm all about using reference photos or other things to look at. Again, you do not have to do everything from your brain. It's really cool to be inspired by what other people do or other things that you've seen.
Yeah, I remember in school, people always used to like say that if you were tracing or like copying a photo, you were cheating. And I always used to get mad at that because I felt like if it helps you get to what you're trying to get to, I don't think there's a problem with that at all.
I agree. I totally agree. I think there's a misconception that, oh, if you're an artist, you just do everything from your brain, you don't look at anything. Again, that's how you learn. So I've got these funky bones. Some of them are straight, some of them are curved, some of them have some jagged edges coming out of them. And now I'm gonna take a pen and I'm gonna outline the bones that I made. And after the pen is nice and dry, I can erase the pencil part. Right
now I'm making my name, but I'm spelling it out with candy because I love sugar so much.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, so far my letter J is just made out of candy canes, but I haven't gotten to the other two initials yet.
What are your other two initials?
W and O.
Do you mind if I ask what the W stands for?
It's William.
Oh, very nice.
It was Walker, but my parents didn't want me to be named Jaywalker because a jaywalker is someone who doesn't wait for the light to go green.
That's very true. Those are great names separately, but have a new meaning when they're together.
This is very, very real.
Okay, so I have outlined my letter N and my letter V with these spooky bones. And I'm gonna get a nice big eraser and kind of get the pencil parts out of there. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit more detail while I'm here. I'm gonna take my pen and add like a shadowy side to these bones so it really gives it dimension and kind of pops out of the page.
Ooh, I like that. Shading something can really add a lot to it. So when you were growing up, how did you start getting into art? Was it just art class, or were you always drawing? Like, how did you really like as an artist? I really started as an artist because my dad was an artist, and he's someone when I was a kid I could always go to if I was like, Dad, I have this cool box. I want a dolphin on it. Draw me a dolphin. And I was always amazed by how easy it seemed to come from him. He was just like, oh, yep, let me whip out this awesome drawing of a dolphin.
And my mom also ran a daycare at my house when I was a kid, and we were constantly making crafts as our projects. So I got into the habit of really being creative with the things around me that were just like in my household, being really imaginative and creative with that sort of thing. And I think as I got older, it became making art and drawing kind of became like a comfort zone for me, where if I wanted to decompress or if I had a lot of thoughts or emotions going on, I was like, you know what, like I can sit and I can draw, and it's kind of a calming place for me.
That's awesome. And it's awesome that you always had an excited, positive view of something that now you get to do as a job.
Well, thank you. I love the intuition that comes with like a line or a movement, especially, if you're doing something with ink and you can't erase it. I think there's like a beauty about, even if, somebody has told me this when I was younger too, it's like, oh, there's no mistakes in art. That's not to say that I have not been extremely frustrated with a piece of artwork. It's not to say that I haven't cried over a painting before, but I think it's a very cool skill to be able to kind of like reconcile something that felt like a mistake and change it around and make it into something that you enjoy and something that's beautiful. It takes practice. Are you using colors?
I am. I'm not as talented as you are when it comes to like finding that shading. So I am using some colors. I'm starting with my pencil skeleton, and then I'm erasing it all, so I have that little like kind of imprint, that reminder of what I did, and then I'm going back over it with darker lines.
Perfect. That sounds great.
What does your name mean?
My first name, Natalie, has different meanings depending on who you ask. I go by my mom's definition of it, because of course she named me, and she says that the meaning of it is God gave, and where I might not be a religious person, I do think that the kind of giving and the sensitive meaning behind Natalie really carried with me throughout my life. I was like, oh, okay, like power was given to me and I get to give it to others. Like that's kind of my initiative in life.
I love that.
My middle name is Valentina. I was named after my grandfather, my dad's dad, who I never met but was supposed to be a really cool person, and his name was Valentino.
I always like when people take a part of a family member's name, depending on what it is. Like William was my grandfather's name, so that's why it's J. William.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like a nice like way to remember that person and to celebrate their life.
Nice like legacy. And what about the name Jay?
I don't know. I've looked it up before and I honestly forgot. I'm blanking on the exact meaning of it. I know that a lot of the people in my family's first letter of their first name is J, so my parents like the idea of me being named kind of like taking the names of a bunch of the family members in my life, so. That's
awesome. J's a cool letter too, like it's not that often used in words in the English language.
That's how I like to think of myself.
Well, I can testify you are a very rare, unique person, so.
Hey, thanks. Where are you on your letters?
So I'm still adding some shadowy detail. It's looking good. It's looking spooky. I like it. What about you?
Let's see. I have one initial left.
Woo!
I'm gonna make the O out of 2 lollipops that have been bent.
Oh, I like that.
I'm almost done with mine. What about you?
Mine's looking good. I just keep adding more detail. I've got a thinner pen here. It's got like a really, really small tip. So I'm going through some of the edges of lines and like making them into a point. I'm adding a little bit of cracks into the bones and making them like extra old looking.
Detail is so important.
Yeah, it's fun when you're just kind of like experimenting with art and you can go for however long you want as far as adding detail, and I think that's a great way of learning too. You know, my intuition with art is, you know, if I'm feeling an inclination like, I'm really curious to see how this is gonna look, it's usually a good idea. Listening to my gut and being like, you know what, you should try that out. Usually ends up well.
I mean, just have fun, you know? It's like have fun, play around with it.
And if you don't like it, you learn from it and you know what to do next time.
Exactly. So this is my finished drawing that I made of my initials. That's a J, made out of candy canes, and I have a W, And then this is my O, which is formed out of lollipops. Well, I can't believe we just spent a half hour drawing out our initials. I had so much fun, and it kind of helped me take my mind off things. So thank you so much, Natalie, for like helping us illustrate our initials today.
You are so welcome. I was so happy to do it. I had a lot of fun.
Good, I'm glad. Where can we find your artwork?
So I have a website, and it's my name. It's NatalieValentina.com. Natalie spelled a little bit different. It's Natalie, and then Valentina. And then I also have an Instagram, and my Instagram name is DarkChildNatNat.
Fantastic. We're going to have to go and check out your work. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ink TV. Don't forget to like this video and also to subscribe down below. Hey, and if you want to send us your initial drawings, take a quick pic, post it on Instagram with the hashtag InkTV. I would love to see what you've drawn and come up with. All right, see you next week.